I might anger some powerful entities by discussing this, so if this ends up being my last video, you probably understand why. H.P. Lovecraft dreamed up some of the most iconic and genre-defining creatures of all time throughout his years as an author. It's hard to imagine many different pillars of horror without his contribution. The Elder Gods are no exception and play a major role in much of his work. Powerful beyond measure, these beings were worshipped by ancient humans and tended to be actually pretty helpful a lot of the time. But there's gotta be one stronger than the rest, and today we'll figure it out. Who is the strongest Elder God? Let's get to it. It's easy to confuse a lot of the titles given to different unimaginable entities throughout the Lovecraftian mythos. Don't confuse Elder Gods with Outer Gods because you'll be getting a very different experience from either one. Outer gods, like Sothoth, are whirling, undulating masses of nightmare material, unable to be described or experienced in any meaningful way without tearing someone's mind asunder. They're also responsible for a lot of the other creatures. Elder gods are closer to mythological gods one might find depicted in ancient art. So yeah, if you're going to appeal to a Lovecraftian god, you might find one more appealing than the other. Elder gods are mostly human in appearance, although this varies and are believed to have been present in many ancient societies. Their incredible power and benevolence led people in the past to worship them and seem to have influenced the conception of many gods across cultures. Some claim that these entities are the former lords of great old ones, malignant beings of great power that once ruled over the planet. Either way, they're insanely powerful beings shaped like humans for the most part. Many Elder Gods weren't penned by Lovecraft himself though. A great deal of extended universe work, along with work simply inspired by cosmic horror, managed to introduce the world to particularly powerful beings. The two major, truly canonical Elder Gods are Nodens and Hypnos. Nodens is the lord and master of the night gods, who you might recognize from other Lovecraftian stories. These dark, smooth-skinned, winged creatures inhabit the dreamlands and torment those who encounter them. Interestingly enough, this Elder God opposes Nyarlathotep. So, while in control of some terrifying creatures and embodying a human, Nodens can still stand up against one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Then there's Hypnos, who is the Greek god of sleep. Appearing all over throughout history, he appears in the Lovecraft story of the same name. In this story, he brings an unenlightened individual on a journey through the nature of reality. The duo travel through different realms, encountering all sorts of different types of existence. Eventually, they come across a seemingly impassable barrier, and the friend wakes up. Hypnos, however, manages to make it through and sees things that drive him insane. So, being a powerful entity ruling over sleep and being insane, it seems like Hypnos has a dangerous mix of potential. There are plenty more Elder Gods too, with many being penned by other authors who have in one way or another managed to have their creations accepted into the wider Lovecraftian canon. There are beings like Cthulhu, said to be brother of Cthulhu. He looks pretty much the same as his siblings, save for a more golden coloration, and is actually said to be the good to Cthulhu's evil. This also means that he's got the same powers, but cannot use them for violence, only for binding and memory alteration. Then there's Oryx, an enormous pillar of fire that's impossible to look at for too long. Possibly scariest of all, Nyarlathotep, a being said to rival Yog-Sothoth. Having another being that exists outside of our perception of the universe, all-knowing, sounds like a bit of a nightmare, right? Now that we've introduced some of the more well-known and stronger Elder Gods, we can get to the question itself. Who is the strongest? It might be difficult to objectively measure this, especially when a recurring theme in cosmic horror is that some entities defy measurement, and don't have what we would consider limits. However, one would have to think that the Yog-Sothoth adjacent Nyarlathotep is near the top of the pecking order. Being compared to that Outer God means that Nyarlathotep has almost limitless power and knowledge. It can be summoned by humans and will grant them knowledge at a hefty price. However, this information doesn't directly translate to power. I'm not so sure this Elder God would want to fight. And the same goes for Cthulhu. Although his power is great, the idea that he is the yin to Cthulhu's yang means that it'll more likely keep the peace and prevent destruction. Not a great contender for deathmatch winner. Nodens and Hypnos, Lovecraft's own creations, are both quite powerful too. However, Hypnos is definitely a wild card, especially after he went insane. Nodens tends to help humans when he can, even though he's described as horrifying and the leader of the night gods. you know what? Nodens is also known for resisting Nyarlathotep, and Nyarlathotep is probably the most evil, conniving, powerful creation out there. So if Nodens can deal with that, he can probably deal with the rest of the Elder Gods. Send some Night Gaunts after foes, exert some insane power, and boom! Elder God Death Match done. Nodens walks home with the belt for sure. Add in Outer Gods and Great Old Ones though, and then things get a little tricky. But that is a topic for another video. So what do you think? Is Nodens the strongest in show? What Lovecraftian creatures would annihilate today's winner? What category of cosmic horror should we investigate next? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more luxurious ones from What Makes Something Funny. Fox Jake says, as a cartoonist, I know that thinking of humor takes a lot of hard work. When I draw or write my comics, I try to have a well thought out punchline that's simple and humorous, but doesn't talk down to the readers. You should never treat your audience like they're idiots. I'd say that's pretty good policy. Cross Chara says, humor is a subjective object, image, or action. There, you know what makes something funny. I don't know if that helps anybody write a joke though. Thomas Anderson says, what is funny? How do you define funny? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then funny is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. Although this is technically correct, I think breaking down humor to electrical signals might be going a little too deep. And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.